Hi, I'm Hugh Sarvis. I'm with WorxAudio. I'm the Director of Engineering. We're going to talk today a little bit about flying the V8 install to our adjustable grid. And we'd like to go ahead and get started. I'd like to start with our TrueLine V8 install grid. This is our adjustable grid. It has a knob that's in the front that allows you to actually pull out and turn. There is a screw that runs down the center here and attaches to this single point. But first, I'd like to start with how you would end up attaching it to a ceiling or to a grid or to an I-beam or something like that up top. Here we have our coupler. This allows you to attach to Schedule 40 pipe. It also has a large hole that's built into here to where you can run your cables. Those cables can start at the top, keep it nice and clean, moves through your Schedule 40 pipe. You can make that distance whatever you would need it to be. Then you could attach to a coupler at the bottom. This coupler allows it to come in with your cable and move it down and keeps it nice and clean. As you move back around, you also could see the screw and how it runs from front to the back. You can also see here that here is the knob. So as that knob, it allows you to pull this out, adjust this, move this front to back. That way you can keep your boxes and your grid flat, and it makes it much easier to fly your boxes to this. We'd like to move forward with showing you how to attach the V8 to the grid. So right now the grid is already floating in the air. It's been attached to our coupler that's hanging. And we'd like to show you how to take and put the first rigging piece to the grid. We call this a cam. This cam has two holes at the bottom and it has 4 slots. The slots are used to end up pinning and showing where it would end up going and attached to the grid or to another cabinet above it. So we'd show you here as I swing this around to where this cam would end up going and attaching right to the side of the box. What we recommend is taking the cam, and there are 2 screws here, and actually taking that and thumb tightening this first to the cabinet. You would do it on both sides, obviously, and then you would take your cabinet and you would put either on a lift or however you're going to take it up to the grid, and you would show this on both sides basically, and it would go up, attach these 3 bolts. What we recommend is taking the first 2, attaching those first, letting them just nice and smooth to put into the slots, and then attaching the 3rd one. And then you would do that on both sides. You would tighten them up with a wrench, and then they would end up flying flush to the cabinet. If you needed to, you could at this time adjust your knob, move this forward or back to make it nice and flat for the next box to be flown, and then we'll show you how to put on the next box. I'd like to talk a little bit about flying the next speaker to the speaker that's flown to the grid. When we're doing this, you've already put your project into Ease Focus, which we provide for free, and it'll end up having a pinning chart that'll show you how to pin the boxes depending on the room, depending on how many boxes that you're going to fly in your array. Our rigging allows you to do this in 1-degree increments. So as you can see down here in the holes, you're starting with 0, you'll go in 1-degree increments up to 10. Basically, you would go ahead and you would take your cam and you would attach it to your second box in this array. And you would do this on both sides just like you did to fly it to the grid. Except now you have this pin that you see that you'll end up looking at your chart and it'll show you where to pin it and which degree mode to go next. So you would put your cam on both sides, leave this to where it is not, it's just thumb tight, and then you would move this up to this box that's already attached to the grid. Then you would pin this in the pin that your chart had shown you, and you would pin it on both sides and then let the box just hang. When the box is hanging, then you may have to take the box ever so slightly, tilt up onto the back, and then start your 2 screws here. Once your 2 screws are in on both sides, you would put a little pressure here, let it settle into where the cam is at, and then tighten those screws. Do that on both sides, and then you would be ready to hang your next box. So you've attached your second box to your first box that's attached to the grid. You would keep the process up, continuing to make your array. Basically, you would just continue to look at the Ease Focus software. You would end up pinning it in the degrees that it would need to go in. You would attach it the same way. You would make your array however long that it would need to be. And once you're done, you could come along the way, and you would just move your knob here to keep the grid flush and flat. Then once it's finished, you may take a degree finder, lay it across the top of the grid, and it would either point in a negative or positive in degrees and finish up your system. And that should be all that you would need for the rigging process.